Today's episode is called Aloha Across Oceans. Today we're diving into something deeply meaningful. This is especially important for families who move from island cultures to the mainland USA, or even just move between different cultural communities, because emotional intelligence isn't just psychology, it's culture, it's identity, it's belonging. Let's start with something reassuring. Emotional intelligence is human before it's cultural. Psychologist Paul Ekman demonstrated that basic emotions like joy, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust are recognized worldwide. That means teens everywhere want acceptance. Families everywhere want connection. Humans everywhere need emotional safety. So whether someone grows up in Hawaii, Samoa, Tonga, California, or Utah, the core emotional needs are the same: to feel loved, to feel understood, to feel valued. That's emotional intelligence at its foundation. Here's a quote by Daniel Goleman. He said, "Emotion is the language all people speak. And this is why cross-cultural empathy is possible." Here's where things get interesting. Many island cultures are collectivist cultures, meaning identity is strongly tied to family, community, and shared responsibility. In collectivist cultures, family reputation matters deeply. Respect for elders is central. Emotional harmony is prioritized, and relationships come before individual achievement. This produces a distinct emotional intelligence style: high empathy, strong relational awareness, and sensitivity to group emotions. And honestly, this is one of the most beautiful things about island cultures. I once met a teen who moved from Hawaii to the mainland. He told me, "Back home, everyone asked how my family was. Here, they ask what I do." That difference says everything. The mainland USA tends to emphasize individualism, personal goals, independence, and self-expression. That leads to strengths too: confidence, self-advocacy, innovation, personal responsibility. But it can also create isolation, emotional independence too early, and a competitive stress. Research even shows Western cultures often favor high-energy emotions like excitement and enthusiasm, while collectivist cultures value calmer emotional harmony. Neither is better. They're just different emotional languages. Teens are identity builders. When they migrate from island communities to mainland environments, they can experience cultural emotional whiplash. Different expectations about respect, different communication styles, and different definitions of success. And here's something powerful. Studies on Native Hawaiian young adults show cultural identity acts as a protective factor for mental health and stress resilience, meaning staying connected to culture actually strengthens emotional intelligence. Let's talk honestly. Migration affects families emotionally. Common struggles include communication gaps. Island cultures often use high-content communication, meaning indirect expression, shared understanding, and emotional nuance. Mainland communication tends to be more direct. This can cause teens feeling misunderstood, parents feeling disrespected, emotional misinterpretation. Teens may feel too island for mainland peers or too mainland for island relatives. That's emotionally exhausting. Research shows collectivist parenting often prioritizes respect and obedience differently than individualist cultures. That can lead to conflict, not because anyone is wrong, but because expectations differ. Here's the inspiring truth. Families who blend both worlds often develop exceptional emotional intelligence. Why? Because they learn perspective taking, adaptability, cultural empathy, and emotional flexibility. And these are superpowers. Cross-cultural research suggests collectivist orientation often correlates with higher emotional intelligence and better mental health outcomes. That means keeping culture alive isn't nostalgia, it's emotional resilience. How families can keep culture without harm. This is the heart of today's episode. Here are some practical strategies. Keep the values, not the pressure. Teach respect, community, and responsibility without shame or fear. Create cultural rituals like family meals, storytelling nights, language practice, cultural music and dance. Teens crave identity anchors. Teach emotional bilingualism. Help teens understand island emotional norms and mainland emotional norms so they can navigate both. Model pride without superiority. Culture isn't better. It's unique. That mindset prevents resentment. If your family straddles cultures, you are not confused. You are enriched. And your teens? They aren't lost. They're expanding. Roots give us strength. Wings give us possibility. Emotional intelligence grows strongest when both exist. Some parents worry if my teen becomes too mainland, they'll lose who they are. But emotional intelligence reminds us identity isn't fragile, it's adaptive, and strong roots allow flexible branches. Let me leave you with this thought. Whether you live on an island, the mainland, or somewhere in between, your family carries an invisible homeland. It lives in your stories, your values, your way of loving, and your emotional language. And when teens feel connected to that homeland, even while growing into new worlds, something powerful happens. They don't become divided. They become expanded. They develop the rare ability to understand deeply, adapt gracefully, and love broadly. And that is emotional intelligence at its highest level. So don't worry about choosing between roots or wings. Give your teens both. Roots so they know who they are. Wings so they discover who they can become. Because the true Aloha spirit isn't a location. It's how we treat each other wherever we go. And when emotional intelligence leads the way, home travels with you. Before we close today, I want to share a story that stayed with me for years. A family moved from the islands to the mainland when their daughter was about 15. A new school, new culture, new expectations, new emotional rules. And one day, her mother noticed something. Every night before bed, that teenager would quietly open a small suitcase she kept under her bed. Inside it were things from home. A shell necklace from her grandmother, a photo of cousins laughing at a beach barbecue, a little container of sand she'd brought from the island, and handwritten notes from family members. The mother finally asked her gently, "Why do you open that every night?" And the girl said something simple but unforgettable. "Because when I see those things, I remember who I am before I have to be who everyone else expects me to be." That moment changed how her parents approached everything. They stopped worrying about whether she was becoming too mainland. Instead, they focused on helping her feel safe, carrying both worlds. And something beautiful happened. She didn't lose her identity. She expanded it. Today, she's a confident adult who moves comfortably between cultures, not because she forgot where she came from, but because her family honored it. And maybe your teen doesn't have a literal suitcase, but emotionally, most teens do. They carry memories, traditions, and questions, and sometimes quiet fears about belonging. Your role isn't to close that suitcase, it's to sit beside them while they open it. Because when teens feel emotionally seen, they don't drift away, they grow stronger. Let me leave you with this. We often think emotional intelligence is about managing emotions, but it's bigger than that. It's about identity, belonging, human connection across differences, especially cultural ones. And here's what I want every parent listening to understand. Your teen doesn't have to choose between where they came from and where they're going. They can carry both. They can be rooted and adventurous, traditional and innovative, grounded and expanding. That's not confusion. That's emotional maturity. And when families support that balance, we don't just raise successful teens, we raise bridge builders, people who understand multiple perspectives, lead with empathy, and navigate complexity without fear. And honestly, that's exactly what the world needs right now. More bridge builders, more empathy, more emotional intelligence across cultures. So wherever your family lives, the island, mainland, or somewhere in between, remember this. Culture shapes us. Love anchors us. Emotional intelligence carries us forward. And when we lead with aloha, with compassion, respect, and connection, home isn't a place anymore. It becomes something you create everywhere you go. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Aloha EQ podcast. Remember to keep the roots and grow the wings and live aloha wherever life takes you.